Hello, hello. Welcome to this episode of The Creative Pause. My name is Susan Padron, and I'm actually today's guest, but I'm also here with my co-host and our host who is also taking over our show today, and I will allow them both to introduce themselves.
Hey everybody, I'm Stacey Faye, and I'm in the hot seat today, so that's that's weird for me. Susan's the guest, I'm in the hot seat, and we have the wonderful Kylene Cleaver hosting the show today. Kylene's been with us a few times on the show before. She's a photographer with Leave It To Me Photography. She's wonderful and she's very funny, and so we're excited to have her take over the show for us. And we're here, as always, just to offer you a moment of joy or respite in your day. And today we're talking all things fashion. So I know all of us are sort of excited about that and struggling with that and in such an interesting space. So it'll be fun to have Susan use me as the guinea pig today. So I will pass it to Kylene to talk about our question of the day.
Hi everybody, thank you guys so much for having me back. I am Kylene Cleaver of Leave It To Me Photography, and I'm super excited to be here. The question of today is, what grounds you lately? I know for me, it has been exercise and just helping to burn off a little bit of that being stuck at home and homeschooling a teenager and all those little things that keep going, through our minds and that we're worrying about, helps burn that off. So that is helping me to focus and ground me in the past few months.
I guess I'll go next. What's grounding me lately? I had to think about this question because sometimes lately I feel like I'm not grounded at all. So I'm like, what's actually grounding me? I would say similar to Kylene, morning walks. I've been trying to squeeze in morning walks with my baby while my toddler's sleeping, since my husband works from home and he's in the house. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to hightail it out of here for at least a little bit. And I've been listening to podcasts while I do it. And that's been really wonderful, particularly the Brene Brown podcast called Unlocking Us. Has provided me a lot of grounding lately, and just feeling connected into something bigger at a time where, I still feel pretty isolated with quarantining with the baby. Yeah, that and painting, which I've been saying recently in a few episodes. So I've been doing watercolor painting, which I've never done in my life, but it feels so good. It's really relaxing, and it probably is one of the most grounding creative activities I've ever done. So that's me. How about you, Susan? What are you doing?
Yeah, Stacey, I've been loving watching your painting, just like experimenting and everything that you've been posting on social media. It's really inspiring. I've been wanting to get back into watercolor painting as well, because I think when we first had a few of our guests that talked about watercolors, I was like, yes, all about it, dove right in. And then they kind of stepped away from it to kind of experiment and play around with some of the other fun creative outlets that our guests have discussed too. But seeing your watercolors, it's like, ooh, yeah, like I'll have to get that book. I'll have to do that, like all the things. For me, what's really been helping me feel grounded, I've been also going for walks. We got a new puppy, so I've been taking her out for walks with our older guy, Watson, and doing that early in the morning. The puppy has turned me into more of a morning person, an earlier riser than I was with Honey Bunny and my son, who gets up usually like 6:30 or 7 o'clock. But also I've been doing a lot more of like spiritual kind of things that have been making me feel grounded or helping me connect more within my body and just feel more aligned, releasing anything that I've been holding on to, whether it's stress or anxiety or any kind of emotions like that. So a lot of fun, different kind of activities like that. And but I think my favorite that I've been doing is something just quick and easy and something that everybody can do. And it also involves going outside with my puppy. But at night, especially, I found that when I have to take her outside and going out into my backyard, just taking that minute to like take a few deep breaths and just looking up. And I know, Kylene, you talked about that in the first episode that we had you on. You talked about looking around you, looking up, looking at anything that you wouldn't normally examine on your day to day. And for me, that's looking up at the night sky, taking some deep breaths, like seeking out the moon or seeing what stars I can see, whatever it is, and just having that moment for myself feels really grounding and beautiful. So yeah.
That's so amazing. I love that you learned a little something like that. It's my favorite thing to do, is to look at the stars.
Yeah, it's so calming. And I think too, with it being something that I can do by myself, I mean with a puppy, but like, not surrounded by other people for like a minute, it just helps to recharge and have my energy kind of like regroup. So I know that we're doing things a little bit differently today. So Kylene, I'm going to screen share my quote. If you wouldn't mind reading it for me, I'd appreciate that. So just give me 1 second. I'll do that right now. Pull that on up and I'll hand it back to you.
I'll be bold as well as strong and use my head alongside my heart. That's from Mumford and Sons. So what inspires you about that quote?
So this is a quote that I actually have tattooed between my shoulder blades because I feel that connected to it. If you've been watching the show for some time now, then you've probably seen a lot of my tattoos. But obviously you don't see my back ever on the show. And if you listen to the podcast version, then you don't see any of me, which is also okay. But these song lyrics are from the Mumford and Sons song, I Will Wait. And I really just connected with them the first time I heard them and every time I hear them, because it's just that reminder of, you know what? Yeah, like you're going to be bold, you're going to be strong, you need to have those moments where you believe in yourself, but you're still connecting to your own emotions and your feelings while being balanced. And to me, it's that sense of tapping into that inner strength within you while also being connected to your emotions and your feelings. So when Stacey and I were talking about me being on the show as a guest, she's like, what's your quote gonna be? And at first I was like, wait, I know this one. I have words that I can reference and they're literally on my back. So I figured if it's memorable and important enough for me to have it permanently on my body, then it's a really great option to have on the show.
It's really beautiful. I love just the whole meaning behind it. So I'm going to introduce you to Susan. Again. But I'm gonna, tell you all about her. Susan Padron is an intuitive personal stylist who focuses on helping women to bring their personalities into their personal style while working through limiting beliefs. Instead of focusing primarily on fashion trends and body types, Susan puts her complete attention to the individual and highlighting you as your higher self embodied. Susan works with clients all over the country and is often on set as the stylist photo shoots in Philadelphia and New York City. In addition to working with clients one-on-one, Susan is the co-host to the video series and podcast, The Creative Pause. Take it away, Susan.
Hi, thanks, Kylene. I will. So hello, everyone. You obviously, if you've watched or listened to the show, you know that I'm the co-host of the show with lovely Stacey, who is also going to be involved a little bit differently today too, and I'm so excited. But I realized, you don't really know, or some of you might not know exactly what I do. And this isn't, the show isn't about me selling what I do, but it is about just trying to help you and find joy and a sense of self and creativity within your life, as it is the goal for every episode that Stacey and I have done so far. So today, what we're really going to be doing is helping you see yourself in your closet, and doing that from a literal sense of connecting with the clothes in your closet, but also from an energetic perspective as well. And all of that comes back to really the core of it, which is who are you, who you are. And that means that you need to know yourself. And this is something that I do a lot with my clients. So I want to share a little bit about a time, when I really didn't know who I was, and how it kind of led me on this journey to be able to help the clients that I work with now, and how I'm going to help Stacey with, seeing parts of herself in her closet, and, all of that good stuff. So I think I've mentioned it on the show once or twice before, but I was a middle school band director prior to becoming a personal stylist. I was a music teacher for 7 years. And during that time, I felt really limited in terms of how I could show up. Meaning, not like in the literal sense, like I knew I had to show up to work, and that I had to be in the building, the band room, not like that. Like how I could show up as myself with my personality, and what parts of myself I was comfortable highlighting and showing to, whether it was my colleagues or my students. And I taught at one middle school for 3 years. And the entire time that I was there, I made one really good friend who I'm still very close with today, who knows me, and everyone else, they never got the real me. And that was because I felt like I needed to have my guard up, because I was concerned that they would judge me, that I had all of these thoughts that made me so afraid to show up as myself. And then I changed, was teaching at a different middle school for a number of years. And during that time, I gave birth to my son and became a mom for the first time. And I completely lost a sense of who I was. So prior to that, I kind of knew who I was, but I didn't really want to tell anybody. I was like, no, like you can get a little bit of me if I trust you, which takes a long time. I'm a Scorpio sun, so I trust no one, kind of like, the X-Files theme, or at least I used to. Now I've kind of come to terms with that. But I had my son, and I didn't know who I was. I didn't know what I liked anymore, because my life was mom life all the time, which was fine, but I wasn't talking to other adults. I wasn't checking in with myself, because I think a lot of moms can resonate with the sense that when you are a new mom, when you have a newborn or just a little one at home, you're almost in survival mode, where you're just like, I just need to make sure that the little one survives and that I eat as often as I can, whenever I can. Maybe I try to eat, like, and shower and, do the basic self-care things. But you don't really have that time or mental capacity to ask yourself, what do you like to do, or what brings me joy, because you're in that survival mode. And then when you come out of that survival mode, you're just left like, I don't, what do I like? Who am I? I have no idea. And honestly, it wasn't until I left teaching and had these moments where I just started listening to my intuition, listen to like inner knowing, checking in with myself, that I was able to bring out more and more elements of who I am. And the pieces of that started to fall into place really when I started getting tattoos, which we're coming in full circle with, the quote in the beginning. But I got my first real visible tattoo, like outwardly visible tattoo, when I was still teaching, during, I think, second to last year of teaching. So it was when I was starting to think like, I'm going to leave. Like, how soon can I leave teaching? Like, already had one foot out the door. But really, when I got that tattoo, that was when I started to be like, okay, I am ready to show up. I don't care. Like, I don't care if some of my colleagues think that tattoos are not professional or that they're going to judge me for the kind of tattoo that I got. Like, this is for me. This is what represents me. This is what brings me joy. And that's what counts. You know, our policy at school in regards to the dress code didn't have anything against that. So I'm not saying, like, for those of you that are working for other people and not just for yourself, they'd be like, well, screw you, I'm getting a tattoo. I don't care what the dress code says. Like, nope, nope. You know, maybe like take a step back from that. But if that's how you feel, then we can talk about that too. But, you know, what I'm saying is that I wasn't so caught up and concerned with the judgment of other people to prevent me from doing things that made me be able to express myself. And then one visible tattoo on my arm turned into almost a whole sleeve of tattoos on my arm, turned into other tattoos, turned into leaving teaching and cutting off my hair and dyeing it blonde in like a hot second, and just picking out clothes and jewelry that I really loved. And again, stopped being concerned about how other people would perceive me because I needed to show up as myself. And that's what I encourage all of everyone that I talk to, work with, whoever it is. That's what I encourage. And those of you that are listening to this episode, I encourage you to do the same thing too, is to take that step back. And if you like something, wear it. Like, it's really that simple, you know, because as soon as the ego in our mind comes into play and says, ooh, but that style rule, ooh, but my mom always said, oh, but what's my husband gonna think? Like, that's when you're letting all of these other opinions start to cloud your judgment and cloud your vision and your own identity of your sense of self. So what I want all of you to do today, you know, we love to like journal and encourage you to journal on this show. It's kind of our favorite thing to do. And I'm going to ask Stacey and Kylene to do this exercise as well. Is I want you to first, we're going to take some deep breaths just so we can kind of like get out of our headspace. We're going to get out of anything that has been going on for today so you can just really be fully present and taking the time for yourself, because you're taking this moment to either listen to this episode or watch this episode. And now we're just taking that like a little bit of an extra step to be committed to it. So as long as you're not driving while you're listening to this, as long as you're in a comfortable, safe space, I encourage you to close your eyes. And we're going to take a deep breath in through your nose and hold it at the top. And then release it out the mouth with a sigh if that's comfortable. You take another deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. And I want you to just take some breaths at your own pace in the next minute or so, leaving your eyes closed. And with each inhale, I want you to think about using the air, just letting it go throughout your body, throughout your head. And with every exhale, you're releasing any tension, any stress from the day, anything that was going on prior to you making this time and taking these moments for yourself. And if it feels comfortable, place a hand over your heart space or over your belly, just making sure that you're connecting with your body. Continuing to take those breaths and just softening your physical body while connecting inward. When you're ready, you can gently open your eyes, place your hands back in your lap when you're comfortable or wherever feels comfortable. And if you have a pen and paper handy, or if you don't, that's okay too. I want you to take a moment and I want you to ask yourself, who am I? In 3 words or more. 3 words is my minimum. And I don't want you to think about your roles in life. We're not talking about style right now. You're just asking yourself, who am I? And the first words that come to mind. And if you do have a pencil and paper, pen and paper right now, what I love to do is just have you write down without there being any kind of disconnect from the voice that you're hearing in your head, the words that are coming to you, and your pen. So it's just that free expression. So just go ahead and do that. There are no wrong answers. Don't overthink it. Of course, now that I said that, some of you are going to be like, am I overthinking it? I think I'm overthinking it. But if you do feel that way, I want you to take that time to just take another good cleansing breath, get back into your body, and write down your words. So minimum of 3, it can be more. And I love it because I see Stacey's already written hers down in the chat. Kylene, if you want to share yours in the chat as well too, then I can pull them. We can discuss that as well. So the reason that I'm having you come up with these words is because these are the words that you want to make sure that you're connecting with whenever you're getting dressed. And it doesn't have to be all 3 words. It can be one of those words. It can be 2 of them. It can be all 3. But the reason that I love this exercise so much, and I do this all the time, especially with new clients, is because it gives you that ability to connect with yourself when you're choosing something to wear. And when you're looking back at your closet after doing this exercise, you can say to yourself, if there's something that you're pulling and you're like, oh, like, I think I like this, but I'm not really wearing it anymore. Be like, okay, well, does it match any of my 3 words? And you're like, oh, maybe not. Then it's probably because something in you has changed since the time that you purchased or last wore that piece. And for so many of us, oh my goodness, the amount of change and growth and transitions that have occurred over the last several months. Like, you are not the same person that you were in March. I'm not the same person. None of us are. Like, everyone has changed, and some greater degrees than others. But we're all different. So this is an exercise that it's not a one and done kind of thing, with any kind of like personal development, as I'm sure Stacey and Kylene will nod to aggressively about this. Like, you don't just do like a little bit of personal development and then you're like, check, done, like ready to tackle on the rest of my life because I thought about myself for a minute. Like, no. It doesn't work that way. Like, personal development, self-discovery is an ongoing journey. And it's something that you need to check in with yourself, usually after big things have occurred within your life. So I'm going to put my lovely ladies in the hot seat now. I'm so excited to do this. So Stacey, I'm going to start with your words, if that's okay with you. So Stacey shared that the words that she came up with are bold, fierce, earthy, connected, empathic, and womanly. And I love all of those words. I think that they're all really beautiful, and knowing you like I do, I see how all of that really shines within you. And Kylene's are kind, fun, and eclectic, which I also love too. So Stacey, would you say that any of these words really came about or really emerged over the last few months versus, like pre-pandemic or pre-becoming a mom to a newborn, you know, while having a toddler as well. Like, how have any of these adjectives kind of come about in the last few months for you?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think, because I was thinking this as I was writing them, I think in particular, connected, earthy, I would say, and also womanly have been more in the past 6 months. And the reason for that is, you know, I've always been a person that I would say wanted to be kind of connected in, or you know, I use the word earthy to mean kind of grounded, even though I made the joke that I'm not grounded. I think actually the past 6 months I'm more grounded than I ever have been in my life, in terms of taking things a bit slower, breathing a bit more, and in the time where I'm not caring for other humans, just doing things that make me feel good. You know, I was saying this to Kylie the other day, like, I don't have space to do things in my life anymore that don't make me feel good. And I've done that for my whole life, really, of like trying to people please or just do things that make other people feel good or look good or whatever. And so I think for me, kind of I think the past few months have really grounded me in, again, a very earthy kind of connected way. I think this whole creative pause thing we're doing came about for that reason. You know, I wouldn't have been able to do this prior to 6 months ago. I would have cared too much about what other people thought. I would have been too much of a perfectionist. There would have been a million reasons why I wouldn't have done it. So I think those 3 words in particular. And then womanly, as much as I've lost a little bit of myself with having another baby, I think I also, with having a little girl, and also kind of just taking charge of my birth experience and taking charge of the whole situation, knowing, you know, we're going into a COVID experience in the hospital, and us being proactive about decisions we made around that. And all of that kind of made me feel really embodied and made me feel more kind of present in my femininity than I have in a long time. Yeah, that answers your question.
Yeah, it absolutely does. And it feels like, you know, a lot of that came from the last like 6 months, which is really amazing. And just shows you too, like how much you might have changed, or certain parts of yourself might have expanded or developed a lot more, because you've had a lot of major life events that have occurred within the last like few months. And that's why this exercise is so simple, but so meaningful, because you're taking that few minutes to connect with yourself inwardly and reflecting on what's changed, what you've accomplished, what you've grown from or developed into. And it allows you to then move forward and embracing those elements about yourself. So, Kylene, what about you?
I had one more quick thing.
Yeah.
I just want to say a representative example, and Kylie knows this because she helped with this tremendously. I let my husband take naked photos of me while pregnant during COVID, because we couldn't hire a photographer, right? Like, it was all on shutdown. And I didn't do that in my first pregnancy. I was clothed. I was, you know, it was just a whole different thing. I didn't want to be naked. Kylie, you probably didn't know that, because Kylie did take some of my photos during that first pregnancy. And I was like, I never said it to anybody, but I didn't want my body shown. I didn't want to, you know, embrace it. And this time around I was like, you know what? F it, and I'm having Dan take the pictures. So anyway, that I think is very representative for me of the difference that these couple of months have made. So anyway, Kylie, on to you. I don't want to take the stage here.
Those pictures were so gorgeous. Let me just say that they were amazing. I wish I looked like that having a 9-pound baby, because I did not look like that when I had Matthew.
Yeah, they were incredible. Stacey, are they still on the Creative Pause Instagram?
They are. If anyone wants to see my partially naked body, they're on the Creative Pause Instagram. Yeah,
they are spectacular. Like, I mean, Stacey's body is spectacular, but like they're just so beautifully, beautifully done, and it really does highlight. I mean, your fantastic body, but you know, just the beauty of the fact that you are about to give birth, that you are carrying and growing this beautiful child. Like, it just meant so much, and it's just spectacular, truly spectacular.
Did you want me to go through my words? Um, so these words constantly come up in my life. They always have, but kindness has been a very, very big one. And it is one that my family and I promote. Um, just out of just karmically, just be kind. And I found that people truly need this right now. That you need to show sincerity and you need to show kindness and you need to stay calm because you don't know what someone else is going through and you don't know what their stress level is with the whole COVID situation and the pandemic. You don't know someone's story, and kindness just it doesn't cost you anything. You can throw that around like glitter. Fun. I I though you guys know me and I adore a good laugh. I adore a good joke. And I there's no sense in being like uptight and my laugh is loud, my spirit is joyful. Like I try and be happy most of the time. It takes a lot to stress me out. So fun is like one of my keywords. And then eclectic. It's something my mother's always told me that I am. And it's true. If you look around my house and my work, and it's all there. It's vintage, it's art, it's like glitter, it's just everywhere.
And I really enjoy how all three words really connect so beautifully too, in just like fun ways. The fact like the way that you were talking about kindness and fun and being eclectic. It can all just be described as like fun, glitter, confetti. I'm getting like all of that kind of vibe, which I'm absolutely here for. 100%. So thank you both for sharing. I really appreciate your openness and vulnerability as always, because like that's what we specialize on the show, feelings and vulnerability, right, Stacey?
Even if it makes people uncomfortable, that's what we're here for.
Yeah, exactly. Uncomfortable growth. Welcome to the creative pause. Should be our new like tagline. So speaking of, I get to chat through with Stacey a bit about some of the pieces from her closet. Prior to this recording this episode, I asked her to pull a few different pieces from her wardrobe, including accessories, because I mean, who doesn't want a jeweler to talk about the beautiful pieces in her like collection? Because I mean, come on. So you're getting like a little bit of insight about me and about Stacey from other sides that you might not be as familiar with from this show. So what I asked Stacey to bring today are one or more of her favorite pieces that she currently has, her least favorite, if she has something that she would consider her least favorite that she owns, and a piece that she really feels like is a true expression of her sense of self. And what I'd like to do next is we're going to go through each one of those three categories, and I want to hear Stacey kind of talk a little bit about each one of them, and we'll talk in between. So what we'll do, Stacey, is we can start with your favorite, and you can show it, talk about it, say why it's your favorite, and we'll kind of talk through that, and then we'll move on to the next, and so on and so forth. So, all right, Stacey, I'm excited to see what you have.
Well, everybody, this is a little bit anxiety inducing because I'm postpartum, right? I had my baby 3 months ago and she was 9 pounds. So I am carrying around extra weight, et cetera, all the reasons why, like, bring a stylist into your life. You're like, no, like I can't do it. But here I am, happy to be the guinea pig. So, but it was an interesting experiment, actually, to think about what's in my wardrobe and these questions that Susan posed. And kind of fun, actually, to see what pieces have stood the test of time, like many, many years in my wardrobe and why they have. So I'm going to start with two pieces that are kind of like three pieces. I'll start with three pieces that are kind of iconically Stacey. Like they make me feel good whenever I wear them. They represent, you know, the various words I put out there. And one of them I'm wearing, so I'm going to stand up. Again, you're going to see my postpartum body. I have no idea what it looks like in this dress right now, but this is the dress I'm wearing that I've worn. First of all, I got it back like, I think late high school, right? It's going on a long time ago. I got it from Village Thrift, which is still there. It's a place in South Jersey. It's a gigantic thrift store that's amazing. Kylie, you would love it. You should seek it out. Yeah, it's like on your way to Camden.
Oh my God, it's awesome. It's like, and if you go and visit Kylie, we should hang out, or Stacey when you go, because it is like 10 minutes from my house. It's phenomenal. Sorry, Stacey, go ahead.
I didn't realize it was that close to your house. Yeah, it's dangerous. So I love Village Thrift. I used to always shop there, especially in high school, buying all kinds of random things. So this dress I acquired, and I actually, at the time I acquired this, I was still in my like straight edge punk rock. I won't really give you a sense of fashion phase. Like I'll just wear black and hoodies. That was basically all I did all the time. And I still bought this dress, which says a lot about my future self, right? So anyway, this dress I'm wearing is, I tried to set up the camera differently so you can hopefully see the full dress. So this is the dress. Ties in the back. It's floor length, which you can't see. I'll see if you can angle it down. Floor length. You can see there's flowers that run down the whole thing of the dress. Now, this dress upon first glance is like, oh, it's kind of like conservative. It has a high neck and, you know, covers things up and whatever. But typically I wear it with another favorite piece of my wardrobe that I'll pull in a second, which is a jean jacket. And I've worn it with cowboy boots, oftentimes. I've worn it to concerts. I've worn it, you know, to date nights. I've worn it to many things. And pretty much every time I wear it, and this isn't why I wear it, but pretty much every time I wear it, people stop me on the street and say like, oh, I love your dress. Where'd you get your dress? What a great dress. And I think the reason they do that is not because it's, you know, it's a pretty dress, but it's not like couture or anything. It's like a, you know, handmade 1970s dress, most likely. But I think it's because it's vibrant, like it has yellow flowers. It's really lively. It flows. So when I dance or when I move, you know, in it, it like flows really nicely. And I just, again, dress it up with other things. So, or glam it up with other things. So anyway, this is one of the pieces. I figured I would try to see if I could fit into it, which I can. And the remarkable thing is I've worn this when I've been pregnant. I wore it in high school. I've worn it like many times since, and now I'm wearing it postpartum. So it's like the gift that keeps on giving. So, and the only other thing I'll say about this, and I won't talk this long about all the other pieces, is this started my obsession with like 1970s polyester dresses. Because there's a lot of dresses in the 70s that are kind of high cut like this, but they have really beautiful floral fabric. And you can wear them anywhere and they fit beautifully. So anyway, this is my one piece. My other piece, which is like iconically Stacey. This is another piece that's vintage. I got it on a trip I did in New Mexico many, many years ago. I'm gonna see if we can see it. Let's see if you can get it up there. Woo, there he is, you see him? So this is a vintage Gucci ring that I would never in my life sell. Dan knows, like, bury me with it because if you don't, even though I'll probably be cremated, but then somebody better get this ring and we'll see who does. So this is like a lovely, amazing wolf ring that has enamel still on it. So this is a ring probably also from the 70s by Gucci. And I just love this ring. It fits really snugly, beautifully. The wolf head like sits right on your finger. There he is. And it has the enamel. And this probably first started my obsession with enamel too. So this is another piece that is incredible and I love. At least I think it's incredible. So those are two things. And then the only other thing I would say, you know, and this isn't to plug my jewelry line, but this just is the reality. I have a couple of rings in my jewelry line that are very highly meaningful to my story that have become very much me. I wear them all the time. And so like there's 3 rings around that. Mantra rings that I have, and then a mourning ring, which is in honor of my sister who I lost. So these are like rings that stay with me always. They remind me of my strength. They remind me of my story. They remind me about telling your truth and living your voice. So those are those. And then I just have a couple of other things that are like favorites, and then I'll go into something I don't like. Another favorite is this in the accessory department, which is, this is just a cobbled together necklace. So we've got 2 different Victorian chains. Like these would be more worn by men on their vest, but I put them together to make a necklace. So one are these black glass beads, and then we have one that's like a pocket watch kind of chain. I put it together into a long necklace that hangs long, and then I have a fish at the bottom. from the 1920s. And he wiggles about, and he has like interesting hinges in the inside. And he has turquoise eyes, and fish are good luck. And he's really bold. He's huge, and I love him. So this is another piece that's just like, it's just bold and interesting, and I wear it with everything, and always get compliments on that too. And I just dropped him. And then 3 other things. This is a vintage piece that I got, again, probably going on 2 decades ago. It's very simple, just gold, ties at the neck piece, but I've worn this 1,000 times in 1,000 different ways, and I will never get rid of it. I love it. My trusty jean jacket, which I also got in college. And then this one, which I found interesting, I pulled because looking at it, it doesn't look like much, but it's one of my favorite pieces ever, which is this tiny little blue jacket. Let me see if I can get back here. Tiny little blue jacket. It's Diane von Furstenberg from, I don't know when. I got this for like $3 on Madison Avenue in New York City from a thrift store, again. And I got this when I was on when I still worked for the nonprofit that I worked for, and I'll talk about that in a second because it relates to what Susan said. And I was like taking a break from something I was doing after a meeting, and I hopped in this thrift store and I found this and I loved it and I've kept it. And it's like one of those jackets that fits, first of all, over my bust, which almost never happens because my boobs are huge. And it fits, it's like cropped, and it's cropped in the arms, and it fits so perfectly, beautifully. The fabric's amazing. And it started my obsession with Diane von Furstenberg also. So each of these pieces kind of started an obsession of sorts of mine. So this is one that, again, looks very simple. It is very simple, but it's just the cut, the fabric, the way it's made, everything is perfect. So that's that. And then I will show you something that I don't like. Now, Susan, you'd be happy because I Marie Kondo'd my wardrobe several months ago. So I actually have almost nothing in my wardrobe I hate, which I was really proud of myself for. But this is something that I thought about giving away, and then I was like, oh, but it's so nicely made, and it's by a good designer, and I should keep it, which I shouldn't because I actually don't like it. So this is by Catherine Meldrino, which is a good designer, but I don't know if you can even see it. So it's got like almost like a crochet sort of top. I wish you could see this better on video. And it's like a little button, it has little buttons going down it. It's a cute little thing, right? It's cute. It's well made. It's by a great designer. But this was like one of the things I would wear a lot when I worked for the nonprofit. And I worked for over a decade for a nonprofit where I worked with religious communities. And to some, a lot of the work we did was good, but I ended up, at the end of the day, I really didn't like my job. I didn't have a great relationship with my boss. It's suffocating me. The job was suffocating me, and I had to leave it. And there were various things where I felt like I couldn't show my personality because I worked with religious folks. And same with you, Susan, I felt like if I showed my more vibrant self, if I showed my naked self, forget about that. All that happened after Green Faith. I quit probably like 2 years ago? No, maybe only 2 years ago, because I went back to them even after I had Julian. I went back to my job for a little bit. But this is an example of something I wore where I felt like I had to cover up. I had to cover myself up. And I wasn't just covering my body up, I was covering myself, my vibrant self, the self that did jewelry. I felt like I couldn't talk about that. The self that would embrace things like breastfeeding or my husband taking maternity photos of me or whatever. So this is an example of something that's, again, it's beautiful and I can donate it and somebody will love it, but it's not me anymore. And it doesn't belong in my wardrobe because it doesn't belong there. So I'm going to stop talking now, Susan. Hand it back to you.
Well, thank you. Thank you for sharing all of that. And I'm just so excited to comment. It was fun to see those pieces, and I love all of the pieces that you love. I would like the dress that you're wearing right now is amazing. And can we circle back to the fact that you've had more than one piece of clothing since like high school or college, and that they're still in great shape and that you can also still wear them? Like that's all of those are impressive to me, because I don't know that I have anything that's that old. Jewelry, yes, but clothing, I don't know. But I think that what that speaks to is something else that I don't talk about as much, or at least on different social media platforms. But what I really want to bring up today in this conversation, and we talked a lot about change and how you grow and things in ways that you're different from your past self. But Stacey, what you were talking about are parts of your past self, or elements from your past that you can still carry with you, in the sense of clothes. It's a literal sense, but also figuratively too, bringing those parts of you with you and still supporting you in how you're growing and how you're changing. And I think that that's something that is just as important to view within your wardrobe when you are, like, does this spark joy? Nope, nope, nope. Not just getting rid of things because you've had them for so long. That's not the way that you should approach it. It should be, does this resonate with me? Does this connect with me? Is this me? Does it fit? Do I love it? But also, I think a lot of people do have the tendency to get rid of things just because they've had them for so long. And it's like, well, no, if you're still wearing them and you're wearing them in different ways and you're getting use out of them, that's completely okay. There's no reason to get rid of it. So, don't feel like, anybody who's listening to this, like, please don't feel like you have to get rid of something because you've had it for so long. It's a matter of, if you're not wearing it, if you don't like it, if it doesn't fit, obviously get rid of it. But going back to the pieces that you love, talking about your words and the dress, for example, that, maxi, that floral maxi dress from the 70s that you're currently wearing, that is so beautiful. Like, it's very womanly, it's very feminine. But the fact that it has like bright colors on it, the yellow flowers all over, for some women, they might be like, whoa, it's a lot of pattern, like it's a lot of color, like that's not me, I can't do this for XYZ reasons. But you're really embracing that boldness within yourself, and that womanly style to the dress. It's a very feminine dress, the way that it's cut. Even though it does have a high neck, there's still something like, still it shows off your figure in an effortless, beautiful way. And it's just a beautiful piece that's connecting to those parts of you. That Gucci wolf ring, like, hello earthy, hello fierce, like, can we talk about that? It's just fantastic, and that's something, with going back to the rings, the jewelry forms of expression. And I know Stacey could talk about this even better than I can, but those are ways that you can have those like little glimpses of yourself and glimpses into who you are and your personality when you may not be feeling like showing up fully as yourself. Because we all have those days. Like, I have those days where some days I'm like, hi, I'm Susan, like, how you doing? Like, using my tattoos, check out this bold print, like, I'm wearing a caftan, like, how you doing? And other days where, like, I'm just letting my jewelry or my tattoos be that louder expression of myself, and the rest of my outfit is a little bit more subdued, and it's like, hey, I'm Susan, like, I'm just gonna be drinking my coffee over here, like, please don't talk to me right now. No. I joke about being antisocial and introverted, but I guess if you've watched enough of these episodes, you know that that's only partially true. But anyway, so the denim jacket that you also showed, such a cool piece. Like, it's a great staple piece as well. And, being able to incorporate all of those favorite pieces in so many different ways, like you were talking about, Stacey, with wearing them to different events, like a date night or to a concert, or just like to record an episode of your video series, like all of those things. It shows that you are confident that it's a true expression of yourself in many different ways. Now, going to your least favorite piece that you pulled and that you're talking about, this tells so much. And this is where I like to also talk about the energy that clothing can hold. From a positive energy perspective, with the dress that you're wearing, Stacey, that you know, the fact that you get compliments on it every time you wear it, it's because it makes you feel good. It's made you feel good so many times. Like you can grab it, you can put it on, and you feel amazing in it. And that's the kind of energy that you're giving off that people are receiving, whether or not they're conscious of it. And they're like, oh my gosh, like that's a great dress. Or like, you look amazing in that. And it's just because you're like, yes, like here, all my good vibes just coming off from me and this great dress. And as opposed to the black button down crocheted top that you showed, where, you know, it reminds you of the job that you obviously no longer have a lot of positive memories with, that it reminds you of the types of clients that you were working with at the time that no longer feel like a positive experience, that it reminds you of how that was something that you put on to cover yourself, to hide yourself, because you couldn't attend meetings, events, whatever it was that you were doing for work as your true self, that you had to hide, that you couldn't show up like the full version of you. And the energy that all of those memories hold, it kind of gets trapped within those clothing items, because it's an immediate trigger for our brain, for our energetic body, that says, like, this is from a time when you were miserable. Like, think about all these miserable times, all these miserable memories. And whether or not you're consciously thinking of it, that's what's going through your body. That's what you're picking up on energetically whenever you come across that piece. And I see this a lot with people who have, like, you know, a funeral outfit or something that they wore when they received bad news, or that you know, someone that they're close to within their family made a negative comment to them when they were wearing that piece. And you don't need that. You don't need it in your life. Like, whether it's that button down, which I know, Stacey, you're going to donate, because I know you've already been going through pieces in your closet and getting rid of the things that you don't like, or whether, you know, somebody who's listening in on this episode, you know, give yourself that permission to remove those pieces from your closet, from your life, so that when you walk into your closet, or when you're opening your drawers or getting dressed in the morning, it's only positive energy. It's only a representation of you. And that is the biggest thing. Because really, like, that's what clothes are. They're a visual reminder of everything that you are, or everything that you want to be. You know, it's that easy visual reminder, like, yeah, I'm awesome. I'm killing it. Like, I'm bold. I'm fierce. I'm kind. I'm fun. Like, whatever it is that you resonate with, that's what you're putting on your body. That's how you're reminding yourself, and you're showing the people that you come in contact with that, you know, this is who you are. So, yeah.
I absolutely love that. I love it. Just let it go. Let it go.
Yeah, it's like singing like Frozen. You can do it. Like, just, yeah.
I need some glitter and some fabric to be like, let it go. Let it go.
I'll bring my son up here. I'm sure he'll sing it for us, because the times that we've watched Frozen and Frozen 2 have been, I don't even know, so many times. But I digress. So, Stacey, is there anything else that, you know, comes to mind, or that you brought up to your recording studio space to share with us? Or, I mean, how did all of that sound? How did all of that feel?
Yeah, it all makes complete sense. And it reminded me of, I don't have them because they literally, like, I wore them so much they fell off my body. But I had a pair of shoes that were like kind of metallic looking. Actually, they had a little bit of gold and silver in them. They were booties, and I bought them in Paris back, I don't know, it's going on 4 years ago or something. I actually was doing working for the same nonprofit. I was doing a big event in Rome, and the event nearly killed me. I mean, I'm surprised it didn't kill me. It took so much effort. In a month and a half, I organized an international conference with over 100 young people from around the world. you can imagine what that takes. So it almost killed me, it's my fault I took it on. But point being, it almost killed me. So I said to my boss, I'm going to take a trip to Paris to visit my friend en route to Rome. And that's happening. Like, it's just going to happen. So when I was in Paris, one drunken night in Paris with my friend, we were walking down the street. There happened to be a shoe store still open because he was preparing for like the big sale the next day. Paris always has a sale that they do. Like, every store has a sale on this one particular day. And he happened to be there at like midnight after dinner and drinks, and we're all totally drunk. And he opened the store for us, and I bought this pair of boots, which was the silver and gold metallic boots. And not only were they fabulous, again, it's something else that I wear constantly and I always get compliments on, but every time I wore them, it reminded me of that night in Paris, which was amazing and fun, and where I've reclaimed a sense of myself and said to my boss, I'm doing this. Like, I don't care what you say, I'm doing it, and I'll see you in Rome, right? Like, I'll be there, I'm doing the conference, I'll get it done, but you're not gonna have a say in what I do before I get there. And I literally like cried when I could no longer resole them because I kept putting new soles on them, and then they just like got a rip in them and like across the leather, and I couldn't wear them anymore. And I was like, oh, they were so good. So anyway, I say that story to say, I think clothing absolutely holds energy. I think it holds memories. I think, you know, if we're going to try to come into these words that all of us want to be, whatever it is, you know, that we need to wear it too and be it, like visually be it in our day-to-day lives. So yeah, so it all made sense. And I think it totally, if everyone did this in their wardrobe, we would have many more fashionable people in this world, I think.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. And, you know, it doesn't have to be it's never about trends or what's on trend. Like, of course you can incorporate trends into what you're wearing if you so choose, like, that's fine, but it doesn't have to be about trends. It's not about your body type. It's not about your age. It's about who you are, the core of your being, and in that moment. And, you know, the energy that comes behind that. It's, you know, I hate style rules. Like, I hate them because I think that they're useless and dated. And especially women, we don't need anything else that is putting other people's judgment on us in terms of how we show up or how we express ourselves. So I hope that the little exercise that we did in the beginning portion of this episode allows so many of you to start thinking about how you're expressing yourself with your clothes a little bit differently. You know, thinking about just how you're showing up and that you're comfortable with that. And, you know, thinking about, do I feel good in this? Like, does this make me feel good? Then fucking wear it. I don't know. That's what I do.
Can I just say amen? Just show up and wear it.
Totally. Maybe I think we need stickers, Susan, that you give out that say fucking wear it.
Yes. I needed a catchphrase. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's gonna be it. Just fucking wear it. I feel like it has so many different levels too, because, like, you know, if those of us who have small children or young children at home who give us some issues with getting dressed, you'd be like, just fucking wear it. Or it can be like, oh, you need to be like feeling empowered, like, just fucking wear it. I don't know. Now I'm annoying myself. So
or a teenager, you know, just fucking wear it. Just put it on.
Well, I love this. I'm going to leave it to Kylene to wrap us up, but I just wanted to thank Susan. This is amazing. And I never had a stylist help me before. This is like, this little segment in our show is the first time that's happened. And it feels really good, actually, to share these ideas and get this input and be validated for like, hey, just go fucking wear it, right? It doesn't matter if I'm postpartum and I'm, you know, getting whatever my body's going to look like, getting that back. It's really about being embodied. It's, you know, and putting it out there. So thank you, Susan, for that. It's amazing.
Of course. I'm so glad that, you know, I'm thankful for you for being so willing and open to do this. And it was really special. And yeah, a little crazy to be on the other side of this. I was like, I think I'll need water because I don't normally talk this much on an episode, but yeah, I'm grateful for you, Stacey, and for you, Kylene, too, for taking over for, you know, the co-host role. I really appreciate that. But yes, now we will pass the baton back to Miss Kylene, and thank you all for being here.
Thank you guys so much for having me. And Susan, you know I love you, and I'm an honored client of yours. But thank you so much for letting me join you girls. I really enjoyed it. And just remember to just fucking wear it. Pretty much. Bye.
Bye-bye, everyone. Thanks for being with us. And I will toss up our quote, which is, what will you do with your one wild and precious life? Which is, you should fucking wear it. Okay, see you in the next episode.
Yes. Bye.